Hey everyone, welcome to Danny Chats. This is episode number 12, and today I'm joined by Brandon. How are you, Brandon?
I'm well, thank you. Nice to
It,
meet you.
nice to meet you. It is Brandon, isn't it? That's how you
Yep,
pronounce it? Yes, yeah, I thought so. So you're calling from America, yeah?
correct. Southern California.
Ah, nice, California. So is it still quite warm there? Do you get cold winters or?
It will get below freezing once or twice a year, but a good little sweatshirt and you're good to go for the
Yeah,
winter.
nice. Nice. I reckon that'd be quite good. This gets too cold here, I think. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your story? You're again a little bit different to most people I've had on the chat so far, in the fact that you have had an organ transplant, but it's not a liver transplant.
Correct. I had been a diabetic since the age of 3. That was when I was diagnosed,
Yep.
and everything was fine and well controlled with diet, insulin, exercise, and with what I ate.
Yeah.
And then in my late 20s, I started having issues because one of my kidneys developed two kidney stones, and it
Okay.
ended up just destroying my kidney. And because insulin is processed through the kidneys, it started causing me problems, meaning I would have hypoglycemia, and that means there's not enough sugar in your blood. Even if you're eating enough food, the insulin that I had to take to make up for the diabetes, which means that my pancreas isn't working, wasn't being used correctly because the kidneys couldn't process it. So I would eat food, it wouldn't digest properly into energy, and then I would just have insulin running through my body, and that would cause me to pass out. And so my body was out of whack. Nothing could work. We tried every different treatment. We removed the kidney, that didn't work. And so eventually it led up to getting a pancreas transplanted to make up the issue that was having with the breaking down of food into energy and the insulin issue. And so that was the need for the pancreas, and that's what I got it. Um, I was literally on my deathbed when I got the call for that transplant.
Yeah. So you say you were diagnosed at 3, and then you were managing. So when was it again that it started to go really haywire?
In my late 20s,
Oh yes, sorry, you did say yes in your 20s. Yeah, yeah. And then it was quite downhill quite quickly from there, I take it.
yeah, in about 4 years, I went from not really knowing what's going on to all the kidney surgeries, and then it just starting to, like, a low blood sugar or a hypoglycemic episode is the same thing as your brain simply running out of fuel.
Yeah.
And so it starts shutting down, and you become a non-functional human being. And if you're not found, your heart and lungs stop working. And that was happening 8 to 10 times a day.
I was going to say, so obviously, that age you was at school, college, and then possibly going on to work. So obviously that wasn't doable for you, was it not?
Correct. I just had graduated law school when I had all my kidney problems, and I was working at a firm, a law firm, and that's when it it went to shit, and I had to quit working because I couldn't drive anymore,
Yeah.
and I devoted all my time to going to doctors to figure out what I could do because I went from feeling great to just feeling like death every day, and I didn't want that anymore.
No, no, of course. And I suppose in America as well, the transplant system's very different as well to here. So did you have to apply to be on there, or did it get to the point where they were like, no, you definitely have to have it?
So they got to the point where they said I definitely had to had it, definitely had to have it, and the word that is used is called medically necessary
Yeah.
because we have a private insurance program here in the United States. And we have laws written of what has to be covered and what doesn't have to be covered, and what are optional coverages and things like that. And my pancreas only transplant is an optional coverage. So the insurance companies chose not to cover it. And so I sued, I did everything I could, and I couldn't get it covered. And so then I had to come up with the funds up front to pay to have the surgery done.
I mean, every time I speak to someone from America, it blows my mind. Because I had my transplant a year ago, just over a year ago, and the all the worries that went with it, all the problems that went with it, I couldn't imagine having that extra pressure of, now you've got to pay for it, and you're unable to work because you're ill.
Yep, I know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, like when looking back on it, I don't know how I got through it, but there's this innate will to want to live,
Yeah,
and you're
of course.
willing to do whatever it takes to make that happen.
Yeah. So you had your transplant. How have things been since the transplant?
So I got the transplant the day after Christmas in 2018. So it's
Nice.
been my 2-year anniversary is coming up.
Yeah.
I've had 4 episodes of mild rejection, and last weekend I was in the hospital being treated for rejection again, and this time it's cellular rejection, T cell, and so this time they use the thymoglobin to really just destroy my immune system to kind of like stop that from happening altogether. So it's been going well. It's functioning really well. I feel good. My body is doing what it's supposed to, but it's one of those finicky things because it's such a delicate organ,
Yeah.
uh, that you have to keep a very close eye on it.
Yeah, of course. I see that you are very regularly in and out for blood tests. I mean, I think I have mine every 3 months now.
Yeah, I'm at every week, and I should
Oh,
be at
wow.
every 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like you said, well, it's good that they're keeping on top of it, and you're closely monitored.
Yeah. So hopefully with this treatment, they nuked me with, the steroid, every single thing they could give me to work, they did, and then hopefully the idea is that I'll start getting on that path of a normal transplant where, okay, now it's every month, then every
Yeah. Yeah.
2 months, and every 3 months, and every six, and so I'm hoping that's what's going to happen now.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's hard to plan anything when you're constantly in and out of the doctors.
Yeah, and every single time I do blood work, they change my medication dosage.
Oh, really? So,
Yeah.
your insulin, is that an injection?
So
Oh,
I no longer have to
yeah.
take insulin injections because the pancreas creates that for me. So it's a pretty neat thing that the diabetes aspect is currently not in my life.
Yeah.
It went from managing diabetes to now managing this
Transplant.
organ transplant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're on anti-rejection tablets.
Yep.
Yeah. Are you still on steroids or anything?
Yeah. So a lot of times once you go through one round of any type of rejection, they keep you on a low dose of steroids.
Yeah.
And so they said for the rest of my life. So yeah, that, and then like I don't know, what do they give you? What did they give you for liver? I'm curious to know if it's the same because like
Uh,
kidney pancreas is treated very similarly. Um,
yeah. Well, I
and
mean, we have a Advograft and Prograft generally for the anti-rejection tablets, and I think the steroids were prednisolone or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, the prednisone. Yeah, so I take Prograf as well,
Yeah.
and then I take oh, they just switched it, but it was a myfortic acid, which is a very common one, and then they just switched it to an older drug called it starts with an E, Escopin or something like that, but stronger ones to get that immune system suppressed.
Yeah. And how do you find the steroids? Because out of all the drugs that I've had, I think the steroids were the ones that the side effects probably most affected me.
The steroids, it's up and down.
Yeah.
Some days it's just like, oh, I can't sleep, and
Yeah.
my face is so puffy, and I can't focus, and all that kind of stuff. And some days it's okay. I think the worst one for me is the tacrolimus or the Prograf. Um, that is the one that affects me the most. I get really bad muscle tremors. My hair falls out. I get weird rashes and stuff like that from that one.
Yeah, I mean, I do get itchy from time to time on my hands and certain places. But you say your hair falls out, and I hear this a lot from people that are transplant patients. Um, I mean, you've got like a full head of hair, but my hair falls out a lot. Like, if I run my hand through my hair, but I just thought, I didn't know, I don't know how much to do that is with the transplant or whether that's just, normal.
And it could have to deal with, like, because diabetes is an autoimmune disease.
Mm.
And so it could be that people who need transplants that have autoimmune diseases, when you add like the Prograf on top of that, it's just two things working against that hair follicle that's trying to destroy it. And
Yeah.
that could be as well. And it comes in waves, like clumps will fall out and all that kind of stuff. Then it will stop for a while and then it will come back. That's just the vanity thing. But it is a side effect from the meds.
Yeah, but vanity, body image, as much as we say it's not important, it's not important, but you want to feel good about yourself. So, these things are tough to go through.
Yeah, and especially when you feel good. Like,
Yeah,
when you're feeling good and then are having the medication side effects and stuff, you're like, no, come on, like, don't
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 do
do that
this
to
to
me
me.
today. Yeah.
Oh dear, hang on. Oh, oh, sorry, I thought I'd lost you there for some reason. I keep getting these pop-ups. Sorry. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, so that's mad. So I see you're very active, or you try to stay very active still. Gym and things like that. That's very good.
Yeah, right after I'm done talking to you, because it's early in the day for me. I'm driving up 30 minutes to the mountain and I'm going to go hiking.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I try to get out as much as possible and just get my heart beating and just enjoying the small things in life. Because I was sick for almost 4 years where I couldn't do any of that kind of stuff. So it's like I'm making up for it.
yeah, I can totally understand that. I mean, I don't tend to watch too much TV anymore. I'm just happy doing stuff and being, especially if I'm outside. You're really happy, and you do really appreciate it. I mean, every sunset special, every sunrise, you just do. And if you spend any amount of time in hospital, you're happy not to be there. And like you
Yeah,
say, plenty of times you're just staring out the window, going, "Oh,
yeah, that's exactly right. Um, so you said it's been about a year for your transplant and everything like that.
yeah, just over a year."
And have you like has it? Can you just tell the night and day difference, just how your body is functioning and all that?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, I was just visiting family today and haven't seen them for a while, and I said I can't explain it. I really can't explain it. For me, it's been almost like having to get to know myself again in a way, because there was the time when I was diagnosed when I was a teenager and I was really ill, and then they put me on medication, and then I became really really well. I was fine. I did really well, and then for the 2 years or 3 years before I needed my transplant, things gradually started to fade off again. And I was nauseous every single day, fighting back, being sick. I was tired, but it became so normal to me. I just thought that was regular.
Yeah.
And then now, yeah, I've come back round and I'm not nauseous and I'm not tired and I've got clarity. I can think clearly. It's amazing. But it's been hard emotionally. There's been times where I started seeing a counselor and stuff because it's a lot to process.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a lot to go through, and that mental clarity thing. It's so it's very interesting how it fades and you don't even notice it, but when it comes back, you're like, holy, like it's like you've been in a dark room and then all the lights turn on. You're like, whoa, I didn't.
Yeah.
That is pretty fun. And it's so much to process. Like, you know, when I think back on it and like just all the things that I went through and um, just how fortunate I am to be alive and just all those things. It is a gift, and I have a second chance at life. And so I do whatever I can to make sure that I'm enjoying it
Yeah.
and I'm not letting the small things bother me and just, you know, all that kind of stuff. And for me, it's not just talk, like that's reality. I'm not supposed to be alive. So I'm gonna enjoy this. I'm gonna enjoy this second opportunity as much as I can.
Yeah, but I totally see that through a lot of the transplant community. You know, I see so many people that through their social media, you see them out taking pictures of just being outside, and they just really do appreciate the small things.
Yeah.
So, what advice have you got to say someone going through what you were going through, maybe at the transplant stage?
Anyone at the transplant stage, it's scary, like because you don't know much. You're really not told all that much. It's just
Yeah,
kind of like, you know, if there's a match, this might happen, that might happen. Um, so like my advice for people just at a transplant stage is to reach out to find other people online, like seriously, because there is no real, like if you Google it, it'll just give you a statistic. It gives you like the procedure. It doesn't give you the emotions, what people think, the expectations, all of that kind of stuff. And it's overwhelming because you hear about all the failures and all like the bad things
yeah.
when
I was
there's
gonna
a
say
lot of,
that.
yeah, there's a lot of really good ones that go on. And I've been able to find at the time when I was going through it, I wasn't aware of the of people who are available online who are there to talk to you and
Mm,
just kind of tell you their experience. And that is what has made a big difference for me, especially when I was healing. Um, and like there's a couple people who've had like kidney pancreas. I haven't had a kidney. I just had the pancreas,
yeah.
but it's very similar. It's a similar medication and that kind of stuff. And we get to talk about the medications and which one we're on and the dosage and like what's going on and then what do the doctors say. So like it's neat to make that connection. And when you're going through it, even when you're really sick, to find people who either have been through it or are on the same page just on Instagram, for example, just by finding hashtags, you know,
Yeah.
you find people and when you have that one thing in common, it really helps you get through that point. Even though you don't want to be social, it's necessary because um, you just want to go climb in a hole and
Yeah.
hide. And
I said that recently on my Instagram. I was like, there's times where you just want to hide, and there are other times that you say that you do want to speak to people and you have questions, and they need to kind of be answered. And talking to the doctors, like you say at the beginning of it, they they give you all the what the could go wrong, and the doctors tell you it, as it is. So it's a tough listen, isn't it?
it is. And I think that it's neat that we're able to have that connection through community, so to speak, you know, online,
Yeah,
even with it strangers. People are willing to give you information and help and just like, this is what I went through, watch out for that,
yeah,
and do this and you know, and the healing process it takes a long time. It is a recovery. Your body has gone through a lot and it has to recover a lot, but you do what, as long as you're following what the doctors tell you, you go to all your follow-up appointments, it's pretty smooth sailing.
yeah.
And a lot of people are afraid of the surgery, and that's the least of your fears because that's the thing that's going to like help you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, I don't know. I wasn't too worried about the actual surgery. I was okay with it. But in terms of the recovery, I found for me, there was two stages. There was the physical recovery. So before the operation, I was just trying to stay as fit as I could. And then after the operation, it was all about getting back up on my feet, trying to get back to, normal health. And then after that, it was like the emotional side kicked in for me.
Yeah.
Because it all just sort of caught up with everything, what had gone on. So yeah, for me, it's like two stages to recovery.
Yeah. but it's so crazy because once you start feeling good, it's like you see that you've reached that point where you're just like, oh my God, like I can't believe that I'm here. And
Yeah.
it just it brings that spark of life back into you. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, nice. So, what have you got planned going forward? Obviously, monitoring your health, but what in terms of social life and Christmas coming up?
Yeah, things are just not normal
Mm,
right now. So I'm fortunate enough to live in a place where I can enjoy the outdoors. I can golf almost every single day. I
nice.
can go hiking. I can go to the ocean. It's all within driving distance of me. So I tend to spend a lot of my time, my extra time doing that. In terms of like holidays and family, I'll see my family, but there's nothing open. And so like, like we would normally go for dinner and
Yeah,
probably go see a movie and that kind of stuff. And it's different this year. We're not
yeah.
doing, but we're still going to have fun. And December is an interesting month for me because um, it's my birthday, then it's Christmas, then the day after Christmas is my transplant, and it's New Year. So like, there's a lot to celebrate
Yeah.
in December. So I'm like, I gotta figure out some things to do.
Yeah, like you say, while staying safe as you can. It is definitely crazy times.
Yeah. And it doesn't bother me too much. I take my precautions. I stay away from people, and that's the best we can do.
Yeah, like you say, I mean, you've got the outside, and it's nice to be in nature, and it's healthy.
Yeah, and I'm very fortunate for that because a lot of places you don't have that luxury, and
Yeah,
so it helps a lot. Just getting fresh air helps a lot.
yeah, definitely. So, I just want to mention a bit about your website because you do have a website which is obviously sort of dedicated to you and what you're doing. Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah. So I had to raise 250,000 US dollars to fund my surgery. And the
Yeah,
way I did that was through social media. I was never on it before. And a lot of people donated from everywhere. And then I felt the obligation that I needed to show my recovery um, online as well.
yeah,
And it kind of turned into more of me showing that the highs and lows of the aspect of organ transplantation and all the doctor's appointments and stuff like that. And then I also get to connect with people who are going through similar things and all that kind of stuff. So I have the social media because of that, and then I have my website, which you can get more information about me, brandonmouw.com, MOUW. Um,
I'll put a link below the video in the comment section and things like that for
Perfect.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then I mean, I answer every message. I am very active on it. And then I was I wrote a book about just like my part of it is my transplant journey, but it's kind of like what got me to the point to be able to overcome the impossible.
yeah,
Because I've had a very interesting life, and that was supposed to come out this year, but because of COVID, and the whole point of it was to allow me to go speak to people and motivate people, didn't happen. So hopefully next summer that'll come out as well. And it's a motivational book, and the people who have been able to read it have liked it because it puts a whole new perspective on what I've gone through. So yeah, connect with me on social media. I think it's really neat that anyone that has chronic illness or dealing with um, diabetes or needs a transplant and stuff like that, it's neat that we can come together and really support one another.
yeah. I mean, definitely. That's kind of one of the reasons I set up this channel was because I had so many questions that I wanted to ask other transplant patients. Um, And there's two things to it. There's like it felt easier for me to, on a personal level, to do it like this because it didn't feel like I was encroaching. And also, if I've got these questions, then I'm sure other people have got these questions, and I know for a fact they do because I get messages from people saying, we've watched the videos, it's helpful, it's interesting. But yeah, a lot of it come from just me needing to know. So
Exactly, and it's so awesome. I'm glad that you're doing this because the more information that can be put out there, the better. The more awareness, the better.
yeah, definitely. Definitely. Just go quickly back to your book. Like when it comes out, I'd be so interested in reading it. It sounds great because I've had sort of similar ideas. And then when it does come out, read it next year, and then you can come on and we'll have a little chat about it or something.
That'd be awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it'll be a lot of new things, and so if you would, because because while I'm waiting, you can sign up. I call it my mailing list. It really isn't. It's basically a book list,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna send everyone on my book list a book because I want them to just to be able to have it. And then my goal is to have them have it and then give it to other people because it's not, it deals with everything. It's not only transplant. It deals with family issues. It deals with depression. It deals with addiction. Like it deals with all different kinds of stuff. So make sure you're on there, and make sure that you get a book.
And you can find that on your website, that link to.
Yep.
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 It's a real simple website. There's like two little things you can click on, and one sign up for everything, and then the other one is kind of like I'll put the link to the show on.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. Yeah, that's really interesting. Well, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Danny. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And I'll let you get off to go out for your walk.
Thank you.
It sounds exciting.
Hopefully it's not too cold today.
Yeah, you'll be all right. You soon warm up. Well, thank you very much.
All right, man. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.